Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and welcome to the NBA trade deadline week, where all rumors are going to be coming out about the New York Knicks. There's going to be so many things to talk about, and as you guys can tell from the title of this video, we get rumors today, a report from Mark Stein saying that the New York Knicks are, quote, a legitimate trade suitor for Trailblazers CJ McCollum. So I want to give you guys my thoughts about this rumor. Is CJ McCollum a player that the Knicks should pursue ahead of this trade deadline? Because we all know that the New York Knicks should definitely be aggressive heading into this February 10th trade deadline, which is this Thursday. And who are they going to bring in? Is it going to be a veteran like CJ McCollum? Is it going to be other players? So we're going to be breaking down all the different trade packages that the New York Knicks should be considering, and if CJ McCollum is even a player that would fit the mold for the Tom Thibodeau style player for the New York Knicks. So guys, welcome into the channel. If you're new, make sure you smash that subscribe button. I have so much Knicks content coming your way all the way throughout the rest of the season, carrying over to the offseason and beyond. And also make sure you guys subscribe to me over on Twitter and Instagram at NYKnicks_media. And if you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to thumbs it up. With that being said, let's jump right into the video. So, as you guys know, there's always going to be rumors and reports circulating about the trade deadline. So take it all with a grain of salt. Just because I'm making a video on it does not mean that it's 100% truth. Does not mean that the New York Knicks are definitely going to be trading for CJ McCollum. I just make these videos because whenever there's a report, I love to give my opinions. And most importantly, I love to hear your opinions down below in the comments on if this player, in particular CJ McCollum, would be a player that you would want the New York Knicks to go out there and trade for ahead of the trade deadline, which is, again, this Thursday, February 10th. Time's ticking, so it's going to be pretty crazy. So, breaking down CJ McCollum, I know that he is a player that the Trailblazers have been trying to move throughout the entire season, to be honest. You know, Damian Lillard's pretty much out for the rest of the year. They got really good players for the Trailblazers right now in Simmons, a young ascending star. CJ McCollum, he's 30 years old. He's been there for a while, but I feel like his time is up for Portland. So, it makes sense. I feel like the McCollum is definitely going to be traded at the deadline, but didn't really expect the Knicks name to be coming up in this one. So if you look at CJ McCollum's stats for this season, he's played in 36 games, and he's averaging 35 minutes per game, averaging just over 20 points per game, shooting 43.6% from the field, 38.4% from downtown, 4.5 assists, 4.2 rebounds, 1 steal per game. So obviously CJ McCollum, he's an established veteran in this league. He's a great shooter. You know what you're getting from CJ McCollum. I feel like every NBA fan knows what CJ McCollum brings to the table. He's always been a consistent 20 plus per game scorer. I mean, if you look at his stats, ever since the 2015 season, he's not had one season averaging less than 20 points per game. So he's been productive, but the problem for CJ McCollum in my eyes is he's 30 years old. You know, he's not really too old. I feel like 30 years old is like your prime of your career, because if you look at the stars around the league, outside of the young ascending stars like Devin Booker and all these guys that are like in their low 20s, but when you get to that mid or that young 30s, when you get to that 30-year mark, that's when you really become an established veteran in this league. And maybe CJ McCollum wants a new scenery, and maybe the Knicks would be that team that would be doing it. But now let's get into my thoughts. Should the New York Knicks trade for CJ McCollum? Is he the right move? Because if the Knicks make this move, what does this tell us? That tells us that the New York Knicks are trying to make the playoffs this year. They're not trying to go with the young movement, because we know that there's rumors about Kemba Walker being traded, potentially even Alec Burks, potentially even Evan Fournier, and there's obviously some speculations about Julius Randle being traded. So there's a lot of moves to be made leading up until the trade deadline. So if we had to give up some capital and players for CJ McCollum, would we have to give up some young players? Would we have to give up like a Deuce McBride? Would we have to give up a guy like Grimes, maybe even quickly, maybe even some draft capital? That I'm not really too fond about. I do not want to give up any of our young pieces like a Deuce McBride or like a Grimes or like a Quickly or even an Obi Toppin for a guy like CJ McCollum. In my eyes, even though he is a very good player, I know that CJ McCollum has been, you know, one of the better, you know, consistent scorers in the NBA for like the past 6 seasons. There's no denying that. But I just feel like where the New York Knicks are at right now and the foundation that they have, you know, maybe if they add CJ McCollum to RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, and that could be the big three, but at the same time, we do not have a bona fide point guard, and that's been the problem all season long. I feel like we all understand, ever since Derrick Rose went down with that injury, you know, Kemba Walker got out of the rotation, now he's back in the rotation, he's not even playing well. Alec Burks goes in that point guard, he's not a true point guard. Quickly, he's off the bench, he's not, you know, a true point guard, he's still trying to find his ways as a playmaker. The New York Knicks lack a true point guard. So I know that McCollum has experience playing the point, but we all know CJ McCollum is not a bona fide point guard, a floor general. That's what this New York Knicks team has been lacking all season long and for a long time. Knicks fans have been waiting for a true point guard for God knows how long. So I don't know if CJ McCollum pairing him up with RJ and Julius Randle That will definitely take some pressure off guys like Randall and RJ in terms of opening up the floors, giving another playmaker. Maybe we hold on to Fournier, and it's like, I don't know, that's a lot of guys that's ball-dominant players. So I don't know if CJ McCollum will really fit the mold of the system that Tom Thibodeau is trying to implement here. So say we do move on from him and say we give up a Kemba, like, who's going to be the starting five? Is it going to be Burks at the 1, and then it's going to be, you know, McCollum, RJ, Randall? Like, that doesn't make sense, you know. It doesn't really, I don't really see the fit here. And he's getting paid $30 million per year. So I don't know, man. I'm not really too on board of trading for CJ McCollum. I'm not really, you know, when I saw this report, I wasn't like jumping for joy, like, oh my God, the Knicks are in on CJ McCollum. Let's go, make it happen, make it happen. I do not know if I would do this trade. First of all, the untouchables is obvious. RJ Barrett does not, he should go absolutely nowhere. He's untouchable. We all know that he's our own ascending star, our franchise player. We find out that Mitchell Robinson's getting interest around the league. We know that he's a pending free agent. So maybe if the Knicks don't have a sense of future with Mitchell Robinson in terms of they don't want to extend him, maybe they will move on from Mitchell Robinson, which I completely disagree with if that's what they would do. If I'm the New York Knicks, I give Mitchell Robinson that extension after the season, especially with the way he's playing. And if he stays healthy, that's what needs to be done. But listen, guys, I want to hear your thoughts. Is CJ McCollum somebody that you want the New York Knicks to pursue ahead of the trade deadline? Do you think it would be a good idea for the Knicks to do this? I personally, like I said earlier in the video, I just don't see it happening. I just personally don't feel like CJ McCollum is the right fit right now. Not saying he's not a good player. I just don't see it. I feel like the Knicks need to go after a point guard, more importantly, like a De'Aaron Fox or, you know, someone else. But I don't know. If we're going to trade for a big-time piece like a CJ McCollum, I'd rather hold on to our foundation, rather hold on to our pieces and wait for a guy like Donovan Mitchell, because that's the man that I'm waiting to become a New York Knick, which probably will not happen this year. If it would happen, it would happen probably a year or two down the line. We hear that Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, that tension is, you know, up in the air, and we're versing them tonight, so we'll see Donovan Mitchell up close and personal. But I really want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Would you want the New York Knicks to pursue the veteran CJ McCollum, who's 30 years old, who's having a good season for the Portland Trailblazers, the Trailblazers not having a good season as a team, but CJ McCollum, like I said, he's been a consistent scorer in this league for a long, long time, and say hypothetically we do bring him in, it's not like he's going to be a bad player for us, but at the same time, I'd rather RJ Barrett, for the rest of the season, take over that #1 option role so we can get comfortable of being the guy, the focal point of the offense, being comfortable with the defense's game planning against him, because we see RJ Barrett ascending. We know what he did against the Lakers, and what he's doing right now is absolutely sensational, and I want to see RJ Barrett take that next step continuously for the rest of the season. But guys, the Knicks got to be active at the trade deadline. They're going to be making some moves, so here's a rumor about CJ McCollum. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you want him or not? Like the video if you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks! Peace!